concerns go to the same point. I think with all the feedback that the Parks Department had gotten about concerns over enforcement of rules, remember there concerns that they were going to cite musicians or kick out artists, that they've been really, really cautious, overly cautious. And so what we're saying to them is, look, we understand and we appreciate that you've been trying to allow for direct expression, but these individuals are now sort of taking over and causing a less positive experience for others. And so they just asked for some coverage to start to be a little more direct on enforcement of existing laws.
Richard?
I do agree with the person that spoke earlier. I'm on the board of Washington Square Park. We got John's preface meeting because we thought it was a different meeting.
Right.
I would just suggest that you might add in this simply that the park is not enforcing any of the rules.
I'm not sure that's true.
Yeah, I live right there. Trust me, I walk my dog all day long now. They're really not enforcing it. The PEP officers are not doing anything. I have to go out and talk to them all the time, and they tell me to go away. So, they're not enforcing any rules. People are smoking in the park, people are riding bikes in the park, people are roller skating, skateboarding,
Right.
and amplifying.
That's right. And it's for that reason that we thought we didn't want to wait to do this.
I'm not asking you to wait. I just think that you should incorporate in here a friendly amendment that would just state that they enforce all the rules that are established for the park, not just these that are listed here.
Do you want to accept that?
No, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't know all of the rules, and I also don't like this comment that they're not enforcing any. I don't know if that's true.
Sandy?
Do you have any problem with Nielsen being both a public and a private person as relates to the park?
No.
No, we really hashed that out over time. It's a $50 fine, Heather Campbell, I just want to tell you. I'm sorry, go ahead, Shane.
In terms of trying to put a lid on music, on amplified music, what are the limitations in terms of bumping up against First Amendment or like?
Yeah.
I mean, did they discuss that? Because I know the police have said before, like that piano player, which I don't think he's the worst offender, but they were trying to deal with him because of complaints, and they really couldn't do anything. And I'm wondering how these guys expressed how they would be able to actually deal with it.
It is a tricky one for them. They not just do they want to allow for expression, but they also run into this question of free expression and what people are allowed to do. And so people who play drums, not amplified, or horns, not amplified, or they play recorded music in order to do to accompany their performances. It's been hard for them to do that balancing act. They go over there and the PEP officers do try to speak with them, but they've been hesitant to give them any summonses. The only thing that, and there's somebody mentioned it, is to try to suggest that the music exceeds a certain decibel level, and so they're trying to measure that. But again, we're saying that they should. We didn't want to wait on this because we've got the rest of July and we've got August. We wanted to encourage them to try to balance this a bit more.
Anybody else have any comments? If not, yeah, I'm sorry.
I think that, two of these issues, obviously, entrances to the park and music are very sensitive issues for our community. So I think it's, what I interpret the resolution is it doesn't say anything conclusive about them. I mean, that requires a lot more discussion, but I think that it probably is constructive that the resolution raises the point that further discussion is required. But there are some problems that we need to be
That's all.
Carter?
We also, as a board, have existing resolutions directing the park not to have gates.
Not to have what? I can hear you.
Not to have gates.
Okay.
And also to allow musicians to perform. So I think we have to be very careful how we request, because we understand that there's not a very specific line in the sand. It's a very gray area, depending on whatever the circumstances are going to be. I think parks, it's good to get some feedback from them on maybe some of the approaches they might want to take on the issue, direct with some very specific mandate.
That's right, and what we're trying to do is get them prepared so that when we have that meeting in September and October, they don't have to say, well, we need to look at this.
Okay. Katie?
Resolution did not pass unanimously.
It was one, yeah, Sharon Woolens, who's been involved there for a long time. She was, I'm glad you asked, because she asked me, she was unable to be here tonight. First off, she didn't like the point about the park being extremely well, the renovation has been extremely well received. She didn't necessarily agree with that. She felt that the benches conduct heat and freeze like icebergs in winter. So she didn't like that. She felt that there were other aspects of the lack of shade and et cetera. She didn't like the term well received. She was fine with the issue of the common sense laws around one person totally dominating the noise. She wishes that they would be, again, common sense about enforcing the law around no skateboarders. She thinks there are plenty of signs. She just doesn't understand why PEP officers won't do it. The thing that she felt most concerned about was the definitive need for community input on the point around access to the park at night. And she just felt that, as some people have expressed, that she didn't want to raise the topic until there was a much more definitive agreement. We went back and forth on this, saying we just want to raise it as an issue and we'll have meetings in the fall. But she decided to vote.
Hey, Richard, moving forward, okay.
Okay, I just want to
1,
say
2.
I am going to vote against this because I don't see why we need to pass a resolution. I believe the Parks Department can, just with your input, find out this more stuff, which is what the state resolution says. And so a resolution itself seems to me a little bit unnecessary at this point, and it raises questions about public
Okay.
participation.
Okay, yeah.
Shirley?
So I just have a question to clarify, Rich. I'm by the way, I am in favor of the resolution. I think it does bring up issues that need to be addressed. But now that the issues need to be addressed, is the Parks Committee intending to address each of these issues separately? Separate items?
Definitely the
Because I think
third
that
one.
would be-
The third one is an agenda topic that we'll rarely have. Quite honestly, we've talked a lot about the musicians and the potential of curtailing people who have freedom of expression. That's not necessarily a topic I want to bring
I
up.
think that in like the skateboarding
Yeah.
issue, that's definitely an issue.
Yeah, and the bikes and the
These
skateboards.
are separate issues.
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah,
These are
and
just a separate item.
undoubtedly, we should bring them up. We should do it in September and October, but we didn't want to lose the rest of the summer. We didn't want to wait until then for them to enforce.
Okay. Toby?
In a way, this resolution is really a baby step. It's a baby step. Park enforcement may seem simple, but it's a very difficult one. Because parks are supposed to be places of expression, democracy, openness. And unfortunately, when they're very popular parks, there are difficulties that happen. People do things that just don't work. They do unsafe things, and they do things that prevent other people from doing things. So that, for example, at this public hearing that we had, the people who spoke out most about the problem of loud music, which is essentially mostly drumming, were the musicians and people who like to listen to quiet music in the park. And Sharon Williams is somebody who's very upset about the loud music in the park. The problem that you have with enforcement is that when you do start to enforce, very often PEP officers are not that good at it, and they will go after the wrong things and the wrong people. And then you have, the community gets very upset about that. We've had that several times in Washington Park. So if you just put out the message, we want you to enforce every rule, they can't go out and enforce every rule all the time. And what they tend to do is they go after the easy targets. So that they will go after, instead of the person who may have 3 huge dogs running around on a lawn, they'll go after the old lady who's got a poodle sitting on her lap without a leash on. So what we're trying to do here is to initiate a conversation with parents, because it got to the point where they basically raised the white flag. And what we'd like to do is talk with them, initiate a conversation, and see if by working together we can come up with solutions to problems. And there's nothing in this resolution that says, do this, do that. It's only, please start thinking about this and come to us and begin this conversation. And there are parks that have, by looking at problems creatively and selectively, come up with not ways of solving every problem, but ways of taking steps forward. I think we can do that here if we start a relationship that begins with this. Because if we don't have a resolution like this one, basically, they are afraid to do anything.
Okay. All right, I see there's no more speakers. I'd like to take a vote. All those in favor of the resolution as presented by the Parks Committee say aye, please. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Hold it, we have to take your name. We have Shirley, Sandy. No, I'm sure Shirley Smith.
Shirley Smith.
I'm sorry, Shirley Smith.
That's okay.
Keen, I think Keen Berger, Sandy, Alexander Meadows, Doris Dita.
Can I just say why? I used to frequent that book in the,
Was Carter
let
also?
me finish taking the book.
Oh, thank you. Okay, let me just read out these names. I have Berger, Smith, Stewart, Meadows, Deether, Russo, and Connor. Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you. It's so fast. Thank you. Okay, next committee. Oh, Rich, listen, moving forward, can you delineate public members and appointed members, please, on the vote, so that we can see it? It's important. Moving forward, thanks. SLA 1? Okay. Oh, the big dumpling house.
So just
Seating for 500 at the dumpling house.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. So there's, David, tell me what to do. There's 4 licenses. Should I just read the titles?
Just read and just go over quickly, and then read the therefores.
Okay.
Unless there's something highly controversial that you'd like us to know why you voted a certain way, but don't get into too much detail. We'll never.
I will get into nothing.
Okay.
I promise.
It's like the Parks Department, you know. Don't
This is
overregulate.
so self-explanatory, and they just
Okay.
go on and on and on.
Okay, so
Try to, okay.
We'll ask
So,
questions.
888 Dumpling LLC DBA Miss You Bowery Dumpling. And this was, isn't this working? Okay, here we go. This is a very long. Okay, therefore be it resolved that CB2 Manhattan recommends denial for